Recording is now in progress, and I've got it on both the main and the backup. Yeah, so you guys want to do the intro all over again?
Let's do it.
Whatever you want to do.
You can support this show at patreon.com/ASA podcasting.
The wasteland is a post-apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosion sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core, gross atomic waste. From deep within the core, gross atomic waste.
Hello and welcome to the 404th edition of the Fallout Feed. I am Andrew, joined by a flock of my favorite Fallout folks. Tonight, we have Ray. What's up, Ray?
Hello, hello.
And Jess. What's going on, Jess?
Hey, Andrew. Greets, everybody.
Take two. We've got tonight on the show, we will go through a little bit of our gameplay, what we get into this week in Fallout and other games. Also, a check-in on the new scoreboard, maybe some of the new cool items that people have been eyeballing in the community. Also, some iguana bits and a couple of shouts on our way out the door tonight. So let's go ahead and roll into the show. Here, Ray, have you had a chance to play any Fallout and or other video games this week?
I have indeed. So I finished the No Man's Sky Expedition on PC twice. And so then I started it up and played it on Xbox. And so I got that one wrapped up as well. So now I've got the fancy new ship available for both platforms. And
is that a usual practice of yours? Do you usually hop over to Xbox and play Expeditions after you finish them on PC?
Yeah. Because I don't play on Xbox very often, but I want to make sure I've got all of the goodies when I do.
It's like me with the damn scoreboard. It's just like, I don't necessarily want to do this, but I don't want to miss out on the fun stuff. So
right.
Better do it. Is there anyone that you play with on Xbox? Like, is that part of the reason? Because I know, Baker does the deck thing.
Yeah, play with this guy.
Does Jen play Xbox? Jen plays Xbox. No, she's a PlayStation person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I play with this guy, Dermetzker.
Oh, who's that? Some weird German butcher guy?
Yeah, so I most often use my Xbox characters to mule stuff back and forth between PC characters.
Oh, God, I forgot it's cross-platform. That's super convenient. I totally forgot. See, I was thinking, is there anyone you play with on Xbox? That's totally a moot question on that game because you can cross-platform anyway. Jeez, yep. I totally forgot that.
But it's an exponentially harder game on Xbox than it is on PC.
I think that's just because of your comfort level with the
controller.
My
lack of controller dexterity.
Yeah, it is a pretty different world, I assume. I don't know. I've never played it on PC, but it's the double joysticks. Like, it took me a while to get flying down. I don't want to say I'm a good gamer, technically, by any stretch of the imagination, but definitely took a little getting used to the flying with the No Man's Sky when I played it. Sort of, whoops, I'm flying in circles here. What am I doing? Geez.
Yeah, the thing that messes me up the worst on that is that your throttle control is your right trigger when you're flying, but all the rest of the time, it's your gun trigger. And so when I go to shoot at pirates, I
end up blasting off.
Take off towards them even faster without shooting. So
can you add a battling ram to the front of your ship? Because that might be fun.
Yeah. So other than that, I've mostly been playing Fallout 4. Still having a good time with that. So I'm actually kind of warming up to power armor.
Oh, what happened?
I think so. Part of it is I'm doing melee mostly. So I've got a Ripper that I really had to struggle to get because it's in the Everett Estates. And so it's right in the middle of a bunch of super mutants. One of them's got a missile launcher. There's a couple of mutant hounds in the fenced area that you have to go through. And so it took me a long time to actually get it. But once I did, the power armor adds to your strength. So just as a baseline, when I was out of power armor, it was doing 10 damage. When I got in the power armor, it was doing 20 damage.
Oh, doubles it even. Wow.
So it makes it a very formidable weapon. And
is the Ripper only available in limited like it's not just a random weapon that will spawn on raiders at a certain level. Like it's only found in this specific. You said Everett Estates, and I know that there's one on the far west side of Far Harbor from that one quest where you take tools and you get to decide whether you're keeping the tools or not. Like I know you get one from that quest too. Like
yeah, that's a legendary, so that's a good one. But yeah, it doesn't enter the loot pool until later, but I don't know exactly what level. But the one that I picked up is available anytime.
Oh, I see.
So as long as you can run in there and grab it and get out before they kill you, it's yours.
Nice. And I think it's super funny. You said you were using power armor. I always think it's really funny when you like are in power armor, but you use like a switchblade or just like a little tiny weapon that you're like your big old beefy arms are just like stab, 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 stab. Like, and you feel like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man almost in the power armor, just so big and puffy. Just to use a little tiny weapon, like you're supposed to use like a minigun or a rocket launcher or something with a power armor. You know, it's just really funny to see a tiny weapon in conjunction with the big bulky armor.
Yeah,
I thought that was funny.
Yeah, and I thought the big miss with power armor is that you can't use the power fist, because that seems like it would be a natural for
you should be able to weld that onto your fucking gloves. Yeah. But you can get like the brawling attachment or something that makes the power armor arms, your unarmed attacks more, right?
Yeah.
It's not
There's
only
a specialized piece of power armor that you can get from a gunner in Quincy. I think her name is Tessa or something like that.
That sounds familiar.
I think all in all, I'm having fun with the Ripper and running quests for Scribe Halen.
Nice. Still ignoring Reese?
Totally.
Beautiful. Give him the cold shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah. So, when the Pridwin shows up, his report's going to suck. And Halen is going to look like a hero.
Oh, look at you. Helping Halen with her homework. Perfect.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. And I've got the mod that keeps all of the quests, all the Radiant quests out of the DLC zones.
Super important.
Yeah, because otherwise, the first time I did it, not remembering to enable that mod, she sent me somewhere in the heart of fog crawler country in Far Harbor.
That's really interesting.
That mod definitely makes it a lot easier to do those quests early on.
How have I not been sent to either? Because I'm like level 30 something now in survival mode. Does it just not send? Under what conditions will it send you there?
It's luck of the draw, right?
Yeah,
when it comes
it's random.
Because the mods are basically called Keep the Radiance in the Commonwealth. And so it depends how many Radiant quests you're doing. If you're doing a lot of them, there's a greater chance, but there's still a ton in the Commonwealth. There's just a chance it's going to roll something in Far Harbor usually.
Yeah, or Nuke World.
Yeah, there are some in Nuke World, but I feel like I've gotten Far Harbor a lot more often.
Yeah.
And give me a good example of a Radiant quest. Like
the quest for Scribe Halen, after you do ArcJet with Dance, she sends you to recover technology. And it's usually in a chest at the end of a dungeon, mostly full of raiders or gunners. So,
do the specific Radiant quests, like for Scribe Halen, you said usually raiders or gunners, does it usually pick within the field of bad guys and set like?
Yeah, so it's
for some reason the Brotherhood's against gunners, so therefore you get sent to gunner locations to steal their tech.
But it's just the various locations around the Commonwealth. And so most of those are controlled by, one enemy faction or another.
Yeah, it's usually raiders or gunners, isn't it? Like, I mean, obviously there are others, and sometimes they're empty and it's just ghouls in there. You're going to an old location. Like, I mean, Watts is pretty common. What else is pretty common? Several of the factory type locations.
To the National Guard training grounds.
Yep.
Backstreet Apparel.
Always.
Yeah, I get sent there a lot for stuff.
Yeah. It's been fun. So I've got nuclear physicists, so my power cores last longer. It gave me a reason to pick up the repair bobblehead on top of the Corvega, because that gives you 10% longer fusion core duration, stuff like that.
Wait, the repair bobblehead gives more fusion core duration. It doesn't actually repair anything. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I guess then you think about it. What do you need to repair in the game? Nothing degrades really. So
Right.
there's no.
Well, except
So they
for
just
power
carry.
armor.
They just carried the. Do you have to repair power armor?
Yeah. Yeah. Power armor get eat up.
Okay, but your regular armor doesn't. So why would they? Why would they make that distinction?
Probably to keep you from being invincible.
That's interesting. But in previous, what was the game before Fallout 4? I guess New Vegas. Does you have weapon and or armor degradation? And
yeah,
how about 3? Is this just something they're carrying over from the Obsidian game then?
I don't remember.
Weird.
I'll have to play Fallout 3 again so that I can.
I'm pretty sure you don't have repair in Fallout 3. That was New Vegas.
So
chat will correct us in a second if I'm wrong, but I don't think there was any repair in 3.
If I recall correctly, there are 20 bobbleheads in Fallout 4. Fallout New Vegas did not have bobbleheads, right? They had like snow globes or something, right? Which was sort of the equivalent.
No, they were just worth money. They were collectible.
They didn't give you any buffs or anything. Okay.
No.
And 3, they had bobbleheads in 3, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. 1 and 2. We haven't played 2 yet. 1, I don't recall any bobbleheads.
No, we only got a permanent buff via the Brotherhood of Steel there. Yeah. And I mean, magazines had some stuff.
Just trying to pinpoint when bobbleheads came into the game. I guess it must have been 3.
That was with 3.
Yeah.
I think, well, bobbleheads were kind of almost like skills because you don't have skills in 3 or 4, but you do have bobbleheads, which will buff skills.
Yeah, the books and magazines, as Lee is saying, you never remember how books and magazines work in the various games, you know, and knowing whether or not what you picked up is actually a book or a magazine. I usually tell by value. The quickest way, you look and, was it only 20 caps? Okay, it's just a temporary plus 10, a magazine buff. Is it something that's going to add permanently? Then it's probably worth more.
And the only book in 4 is your special book. Everything else is a magazine in 4.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Crazy. You need to start playing all the games simultaneously. How about that? Do a super roundtable of all games at once.
That is the way. But yeah, in New Vegas, it was skill books and skill magazines for the various things.
They give you a permanent buff and the magazine's only a temporary.
Exactly.
Okay. But the same categories of stuff, though, right?
Yes, generally speaking. I mean, the skill books were for skills. And what is it? Dean's Electronics, Tumblr's Today. We've done this as a Scream list before.
Yeah.
Hugelism Illustrated, Wasteland Survival Guide. They all give you the buff.
Yeah, Big Book of Science.
Yes. So those are going directly to your skills and not your special.
And the magazines would do specials then?
No, magazines are also skills, but they're a temporary buff. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, same stuff, just temporary.
So to get your special, you have to get surgery, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you go get the implants.
Like in 1, which, I mean, makes sense, right? They brought that into New Vegas the way we saw it in 1, and then 3 and 4, and sort of 76 have the same systems.
Crazy. We need a historian on the show. That's what you guys are for.
I mean, I try, but, some days we're quicker than others at that.
Yeah. It's hard to keep all that stuff in check.
That's why we go 1 round table at a time and put the rest in the buffer.
Yeah.
So tell me about your cards with your Ripper power armor setup then. Like Ripper must be an unarmed weapon. Right?
No, it's a melee.
It's melee. Is that
because if it was unarmed, you wouldn't be able to use it in
power armor. That is so stupid. Ugh. I never got that way. You can't just pop off one of your power armor gloves. Use that Deathclaw gauntlet. Use that power, especially the power fist could be fused onto a set of power armor. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, just craft it 2 sizes up. What's the big deal?
Exactly. The extra large.
This one's really high in endurance and really high in intelligence.
And you're doing survival?
No, this is just normal.
Nice.
Yeah, because this is the first character that I've tried with this new mod package. I'm looking for optimum stability before I start doing any more survival. I did get rid of my A Forest mod.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because not only could I not find the forest for the trees, I couldn't find anything for the trees. This puts so many big giant trees everywhere. Lost.
It's not only more of them, but also larger?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, you could hide 2 super mutants behind 1 tree.
Pretty thick.
But you couldn't, I couldn't see I'm like, where am I? I can't see any landmarks because there's too damn many trees. It was driving me freaking crazy. And,
Especially in
because
survival where you need to walk everywhere and
well,
kind of,
yeah, because that's kind of what I was looking at is eventually to take this in survival. And I was walking everywhere. And it's like, okay, this is not going to work. I have no idea where I'm at, constantly having to look on the map. See, was I supposed to take that last left? Where normally you can see it's off in the distance.
Okay,
So.
here's a question for you guys. No Man's Sky, does that have a mini map, Ray? Do you have a mini map in the upper right or left-hand corner or anything like that?
No.
Okay, I was going to ask what you guys prefer because, Todd has talked before, and a couple of the designers at Bethesda have talked before about not liking mini maps. There's a reason why they do the compass style, so you can just have an idea of the direction you need to go, but you're not looking at a mini map instead of the game itself. The world around you, because a lot of games with mini maps, people really they do come to rely on them, especially in MMOs, but a lot of times you just find yourself traveling looking at the mini map as opposed to the actual landscape. And I didn't know if you guys had a preference, but I know, Andrew, you mostly play only Bethesda games and a few others, like Breath of the Wild. Does Breath of the Wild have a mini map that you use?
It's been so long since I played, plus I have way more experience with the earlier Zelda games, but I know they love the mini map.
Yeah, earlier Zeldas did.
Yes, but you're right. I do find myself not even looking at what's happening on the screen, but looking at the red dot and my relation down this hallway on the mini map, and I just use the mini map a lot of the time.
I was thinking about that playing a little bit of Witcher again, and when I'm on my horse riding, instead of looking at the trail and where I'm going at the world around me, I'm looking at the mini map, so I'm like, oh, let's avoid the red dots, let's not pull any enemies. And I'm like, wait, that's not great. That's not a great experience. So that's something I really love they do about Bethesda is using a compass. Like I like that system a lot better. Even the floating dots, while quest markers can be a little bit obtrusive, they're at least keeping you looking at the screen, like looking at the center of the screen and not just off to the corner. So I like that system better, but I can see how when you can't see around the trees, it would be worse.
I play Bear HUD.
Even better.
That stuff doesn't even pop up unless I stop.
When you say Bear HUD, like the Gopher's iHUD mod or a different one?
Yeah.
Well, I think those giant trees might be a good way to challenge yourself and limit, because if you really know absolutely where everything is in relation to every other location around it, and you can just sort of get everywhere automatically just because you know the map so well, then adding those trees and making you confused and get turned around and stuff like that, that might actually be a good thing to break up the repetition of knowing what you're doing, where you are, all that sort of stuff. I mean, it's not going to throw you for a giant curveball, but it'll at least make you think a little more and not be automatic with all of your intentions,
Well, it can definitely throw you for a curve.
Wait, I can fix all your problems, Ray. Vans, VANS, Vans.
Oh, well, and that would keep you on the road.
And
Maybe.
I remember Vans. I don't even remember why, but I remember us just making so much fun of Vans all the time. What a wasted perk it is, but it gives you like +2 perception, though, doesn't it? Doesn't it actually give you? They added that later, right?
Yeah, they added it later
because we were making fun of it so much, and they listened to our podcast. Right?
Yeah. They said that just isn't going to work. We need to fix that because we can't have them dogging on us.
I had Vans on a Roundtable character before 76 came out, the last one. And I did at that point find it a little bit useful. If you want to use it, you're at a fork in the road, which way do I go? But still, it's not the most accurate. And you never know if it's going to be like turn left and you're on a bridge.
Yeah. And that's why I like to use the map.
Why do we mock it so in Fallout, yet I feel like it's super useful in Skyrim? Whatever its equivalent spell is that shows you the roads and the maps and stuff. What is the difference between the two? I sell that book every time. You don't ever use it in Skyrim either. You also degrade its worth in Skyrim as well. For some reason in Skyrim,
it's worth like 24 gold.
That is nothing, Ray. You should have 250,000 gold by level 20 in Skyrim. Like they throw gold at you in Skyrim in comparison to Caps and Fallout, at least.
Yeah, the spell is clairvoyance.
There we go.
Okay.
The +2 perception was added with Nuka World.
I think it's quicker to cast clairvoyance. The world is more open, so you're less likely to run into buildings. I don't really use it much in either. But
yeah, that purple glow, or I think in Skyrim it's gold. It's just really annoying.
It really is annoying. And it's funny, some games have it as a built-in mechanic, like constantly, that you have to turn off. For instance, Fable.
Not in
Fable
the
2,
games I
Fable
play,
3.
that's for
Right,
sure.
exactly. Like Fable brought in this system and you've got a constant glowing trail to where you're going. Like you stop for a minute, you look around, then you hear whoosh, and like this gold trail lays out before you like a yellow brick road, you know exactly where you're going. It's really useful, but annoying. So I have trouble playing games like that. I try to turn it off whenever I can.
Well, and I'm hardly ever going to my next quest.
That's just it. The game doesn't know what you're doing, especially talking Skyrim or talking Radiant quests in the Commonwealth. Like, you've got 40 miscellaneous quests. It may not be tracking the one you're working on.
And even if it is, I might not be doing the one that I have highlighted.
I think maybe that's why we make
Yeah.
fun of it too.
It makes you
You're thinking
curate
back-
your quest list.
I know the quests that I have active, and I'm just doing whatever comes along. I don't do a quest straight through. Yeah, so it's definitely been interesting. It has been better with less trees.
Good. Glad you can see where you're going.
And so far, it seems pretty stable. I'm pretty optimistic.
We could all use a little more stability. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Now, why specifically are you making sure it's stable before taking it in to survival?
Well,
Because it's harder to save and you're worried about crashing, or what?
Well, yeah, because I wasn't planning on using save mods, although there was one that I found kind of intriguing. It's a smoke to save.
Wait, really?
Oh, that actually
Yeah.
sounds fun. What, do you have to find packs of cigarettes or the cigars or
So
something?
you have to have cigarettes and a lighter on you, and smoking is hazardous to your health.
Wow. So it's still a trade-off, like Andrew was complaining about last week. So in order to save your game, you're damaging yourself.
Yep. So if I use a save mod, that's probably going to be the one I use, but I probably won't use one.
Yeah.
That's
Like
really
I said,
interesting.
I liked that sleeper save where you can choose to just look at a bed and save instead of having to sleep every time.
Fewer diseases, that's for sure.
So any other gameplay, Ray?
So that was really the only thing worth noting.
How about you, Andrew? Do you want to get into your gameplay?
Well, sure, I've been playing a little bit of Fallout 4 still, but as everyone knows, the stupid scoreboard is back, so that's
It's
cutting
back.
drastically into my freedom and happiness in general. And I just feel like a slave to the fucking daily challenges. Why am I doing it anyway? I should just quit and do it. Oh, it's because, like Ray brought up, that's why he plays that. Because he wants all the stuff. I haven't even looked at the list for the scoreboard yet. Jess, Ray, you seem to have poked through it a little bit. And Ray, you said only things are Fallout first that are worth anything.
A little bit.
But I'm Fallout first. I
Yeah,
can
so
get those
you've got
cool
access.
things.
I think we talked about that a little bit ahead last week, but not much. But this time on the scoreboard, they're pushing us
The
to first in
violin
multiple
chair,
ways.
that's the only thing I remember.
They're pushing us in multiple ways, and that includes on the scoreboard. It does seem like there are more. In the past, there have been some camp items and some cool novelty items, but this time it feels like there are even more that are Fallout First specific on the scoreboard that people are going to want.
Yeah.
And this is a bizarre one. At the level 95, you get a Hunter's Lodge prefab. They're locking an entire prefab building, which is very cool behind Fallout First.
Yep.
Clint mentioning in chat, no level up challenges. Yay. Do we want to complain about the scoreboard, Andrew? Do you want to do that now, or do you want to complain about your phone and remote play? What should we complain about first?
Just complain about everything. We'll start with the scoreboard. Yeah, so get into what you just mentioned there. No level ups. I'm fine with that. I thought that was kind of a hassle having to level up every day. That one I'm fine with disappearing.
So I was initially skeptical. Ahead of time, I was skeptical about the mutant invasion, if that was a thing that we were going to like. And
Yeah.
the new world of the scoreboard, there were more changes than I expected in the way that you do challenges. So when it came out, as we know with challenges, there's always been the daily gold star, which required completing 5 daily events to get a gold star. Now it
Fucking
is 6.
6.
So it is 6, which is one more, obviously, but they increased the score for it too. So when you do get the daily challenge, you get a little more score than you do for just 5, but that makes it harder, especially if you're not Fallout First.
I haven't done an official tally, but it doesn't seem like we have 6. We used to do 5, but it doesn't seem like they added 2 more possibilities to do.
Right now, if you're not Fallout First, you've basically got 6 challenges to do in order to get your 6 for the daily and get the gold star. If you're Fallout First, you get 1 extra still. So we'll have 7 on there to do, which lets you skip 1. But they're making it so you kind of have to do everything you've got for the day if you want to get that gold star. And then on the weekly challenges, used to be you'd get a weekly challenge completed by getting a daily gold star. Now you have to get 3 for the challenge. Once again, they up the amount of score that is worth. So you're getting, I think, 1,500 now for that weekly instead of just 1,000 or the base level. But yeah, they made both of them more difficult. Once again, kind of nudging people towards first a little bit. Hey, you want to get one more option on the board? Hey, maybe something easy like Mirelurk meat? You know, join Fallout First to get a little extra. So they did that. So I was a little bit annoyed, skeptical about that. We'll see if they keep it just 6 or if they add more options at least on the scoreboard to choose from. With that, they brought in the reroll mechanic. Oh, here's the other thing. So on the first day, the thing that really made it seem like, okay, this is going too far, no experience rollover.
Yeah, that people were sort of like, oh, Jesus, these guys are pathetic, and they just don't want us to rush through and get done in 10 days like some people were able to. Like, we all were kind of assuming that, oh, man, but turns out, oh, wait, whoops, they just fucked something up. Or what do you think? Did they be like, do you think they were just like, let's dip our toe in this water, we'll keep it so it's really easy to add back in the second day, but the first day, let's take that away, just gauge what the community's judgment is on this thing.
So on that one, there's a little bit of conspiracy theory on that, but I really don't think so. I think they were definitely removing the level up challenges. That was a deliberate choice, but they were so quick to say the very next morning, like not even later that afternoon or something, like first thing the next morning after it had rolled out, they said this was an oversight. The XP challenge should still be in there.
Jake forgot to include it in the code for that day.
Well, there were a lot of changes to this system. So not only do we have different challenges and the weight and what they're worth, removing the level up, but we also have the rerolls, which are the next thing we'll talk about. But yeah, that first day with no XP, no level up, tougher to get. Not only are they pushing people to Fallout First, they're being heavy-handed with it. And this could really push some people away from the game and have the opposite effect what they want, at least people who come back just for the scoreboard. But they added XP back. So I feel like that will make up for it enough that the other hard things are okay. So let's talk about rerolls. Have you guys rerolled at all?
No, and that first day when you were like, oh, look, we have 2 rerolls. I'm going to go reroll. I'm like, don't, but you only have 2. I'm worried that we don't know how, if that's 2 for today, 2 for the week, 2 for the season. I bet you that's just 2 for the whole fucking scoreboard. I'm not going to burn through my 2 rerolls today. And that's what I was worried about. And you, Jess, you tested it and you spent 2 on that first day just to see what would happen, right?
Yep, I'll take the plunge for the team. And I used both of my rerolls because I had 2 rerolls right away. Because once per day, you can always reroll a challenge for free is what it turns out to be, whether you're Fallout First or not. And if you're Fallout First, you have a second. So you get 2 free rerolls every single day without having to purchase them. So it's not as bad as we thought. What's funny, though, is while it is from a huge pool of possible challenges, they basically brought in the kitchen sink, all the challenges they used to give us back in the days of Atoms and new stuff now. So the first couple of days, you could re-roll on an expedition thinking, oh, I'm going to get something. I don't want to do an expedition. And people got things like participate in Graham's Meat Cook. You know, get
Wait a second,
10 prime cuts.
We'll show you. Reroll this, baby.
Yeah, it wasn't perfect at first. They did not have the pool of challenges tweaked quite properly, and there were some impossible that came up. The other issue with the rerolls is people are finding, and this isn't 100%, but every time I've done it so far, and I think you as well, Andrew, if you have rerolled at least once so far, I know other people in our Xbox chat at least have. Say you have a quest for kill 10 trogs. There's a really good chance when you reroll that one that requires you to get an expedition, the next thing you're going to get is kill 2 trog devourers. Or say you have a quest for, there was one this week, cripple 10 limbs. People re-rolling that, a lot of them ended up being like, get 10 headshots, stuff like that. So it seems to be a lot of times when you re-roll that first re-roll, it does the similar thing to what you're trying to avoid, which isn't great. But I'm told there are people who have the very first try re-rolling on an expedition or re-rolling on a daily op, gotten something unrelated. So maybe it's just luck of the draw, but that's my experience so far, just anecdotal.
One thing I was pleased about was that I didn't have do a daily ops on my challenge sheet today. I was like, oh, sweet. Or did I? No, it was a daily quest.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I did that thing where you put the Scorch Beast DNA into the centrifuge because I actually had scorched
Some
me
on you.
DNA on me
Yeah.
already. So I just ran over there and tossed that in the centrifuge and got my credit for it. But if I recall correctly, there was no do a daily ops on the challenge sheet today, but there is still the do 5 for the week or whatever. So you kind of have to do it anyway. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they're like, oh no, you don't have to do one today, but it's for the weekly. You still need to do it, so at least 5 times.
Yeah, the fact that often at least one challenge will be daily ops related and at least one challenge will be expedition related is forcing people to do those more often now that they need 6 for the daily. And you can reroll to get past them if you're trying to avoid it. But like I said, category may not change. So all in all, there are some definite negatives.
I'm seeing a big upside for me on this.
What's
Okay.
that?
Because if I want to do an event that's going to automatically give me score, I can re-roll before the event
To
and try
avoid
to get
it.
something else to avoid getting score at all.
I mean, absolutely. That way you can maintain a happy and healthy score retirement and not be tempted.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. And Lee and Clint, basically, they have it all figured out too. Because yes, after you spend your 2 rerolls, you try to reroll again. It's like, do you want to reroll for 50 atoms? You can buy additional rerolls, pushing you
Nickel
to
and
spend a little
dime you
more.
to death. Yeah.
Yep. And it's a little bit insidious. I don't often call them out on stuff. And now that we got XP back, I'm not totally unhappy with this. But it is definitely encouraging us to be first or spend atoms more than it did in the past if you want to complete the scoreboard. It does make those boosts even more valuable. And it is a pretty decent board for stuff, especially if you're Fallout first. But yeah.
Remember when they were so super defensive about the whole pay to win aspect of the game when it first came out? They are leaning hard into that right now. It is crazy.
They were because people are very unhappy about the web microtransactions. And in my mind, they've mostly avoided it. I almost feel like if it's on the scoreboard, they say it's okay. But these convenience items, they really are. Because what is winning in 76 anyway? At this point, completing the scoreboard for a lot of people. And yeah, you can buy that. So that's pay to win.
It'd be interesting to see what percentage of players are Fallout first.
I am curious. And I am curious if it's dropped. We don't know. We don't know, and certainly a lot of people who play regularly are Fallout first, and we talk about how there's still new players coming in. They start to see the value of it. We got all the new players with PlayStation with the free month in January. They added 2 million people trying the game between last summer and Christmas. We went from 11.5 million players to 13.5 million by the end of the year. That's 2 million over the course of 6 months or so that had logged in and at least tried the game, if not stuck with it. So out of those, anyone who plays for a length of time seems to at least be tempted by first for a little bit. But I would speculate that they're seeing overall first memberships die down with the diehards and more people taking advantage of all the convenient stuff that they give us. And they're trying to right that ship or kind of correct that balance. I don't know, but that's my guess.
Draw fresh meat into the pool, I guess.
Once you get a taste of this, oh, here's your free reroll. Here's your free scrap kit. Don't you want more?
Look at all the extra side on the double spaces on the scoreboard that you're missing out on. Look at all this fancy stuff. Yeah, they're pretty blatant.
I can't deny it.
But on the flip side, at least they are recognizing that they need to provide value to the first membership.
That's true. I mean, what else am I paying for other than the free atoms otherwise, right?
Yep. I mean, we all know what it first entails. Atoms, shelter, scrapbox, private worlds, custom worlds, number stuff like that, plus access to regular sales.
Yeah.
Now ammo box.
Ammo box. Like there's so much. Like it really is worth it if you play, but it's a subscription. So it's still hard to convince people to do it. And you can't blame them.
The ammo box. I've been dropping ammo again. Fuck. I
Oh
forgot
no.
about that box.
That's happens. You're on scorecation for a month and a half, 2
I
months.
know.
You
It's
forget.
when I take all that time off, I forget all the benefits I'm supposedly paying for.
Yeah, it's awful. But if you play for any length of time, and if you're a newer listener just joining in 76, it really is worth it to stock up on your scrap box and like load that up with stuff. Because even when you're not first, you can access it. If you find yourself buying stuff in the shop, the atoms alone are worth it. I will still sell you on it, but they're pulling a little bit more Vault Tech rep on us and getting a little bit heavier handed with the sell.
Absolutely, they are.
So talking about the season though, which is what I think you wanted to do, Andrew. Do you want to talk about some of the highlights on the board that Ray and I have seen if we've looked? Or
Yeah, again, I haven't looked through, but I saw some people posting the violin chair, the fiddle chair. Like, you corrected me last week, and I think that's pretty fucking cool. But I haven't really noticed anything else. And then Ray said all the things that he liked were, if you didn't have Fallout first, you're SOL.
well, not everything. So one thing that I really like early on the scoreboard that everybody can get, there's a new shotgun on the scoreboard called the Cold Shoulder. It's a legendary shotgun. You don't need to be Fallout first to get it. And
That's
essentially,
not just a skin?
no, it's not a skin. It's actually a gun you can roll. You
Okay.
you unlock it. You learn the recipe. It's a double barrel, permanent quad double barrel, which, as you guys know, quad explosive double barrel is my favorite. But instead of explosive, it's got cryo damage as an effect, and of course slows enemies down. It is excellent. It is, while the damage numbers are lower than my quad explosive double barrel, say I get about 250 physical damage plus 130 cryo damage. That still overall does better than my 310 on my regular explosive, just because of the cryo effect slowing them down, and it seems to get through armor better.
Well, and
I don't
there's
think
another
quad is
one later
enough.
on down the line, right?
Another weapon?
The gold shoulder?
So the gold shoulder is just a skin for your cold shoulder you got earlier.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Yep. And basically the lore behind this is that this is Rip Daring. This whole season, the theme is Rip Daring, Cryptid Hunter. And this is his shotgun, is the idea.
Is that someone I should be familiar with from Endgame
No.
stories or
No.
something? Okay.
No, he's
Another new
freshly made up.
character. Like KT, not KT Tunstall, Katie Inkwell.
Katie Inkwell. Right.
A little bit different here. Rip and Katie are going to hook up. They're cool adventurers. He's on Pirate Radio now. Fun. I like the character. But there's some great posters coming up. There is a sheep squatch power armor paint that I think is pretty kick-ass. Ray was talking about the Tinker's Bench.
Yeah, I like that scan on the Tinkerbell level 13.
Taxidermy bench, right?
Yep, taxidermy Tinker's Bench. And so it looks like you're sewing. Kind of got a bit of a sewing machine, like leather sewing machine kind of vibe to it. There's a Welcome to Flatwoods sign that is awesome. What's weird about it, though, it says Welcome to Flatwoods, home of the Green Monster.
Right.
But the Green Monster is at Diamond City.
Yeah, that's the name of the wall of Fenway Park, right?
Exactly. Like, I mean,
And the Flatwoods monster is purple. Newsflash.
right? So
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a little confused by that, but we'll assume that there's a reason behind it. There's a kick-ass Curios sign that you can get at rank 19 if you're Fallout first. You can also unlock a firewood pile to put in your camp. It's a firewood pile at like level 12, and essentially you'll be able to loot firewood from it every day. So there you go.
Oh, that's nice.
Mhm.
That'll help with that harvest 7,600 wood.
Exactly. Because it's cryptid themes, we're getting cryptid plushies too. At the very end, we finally got a Mothman plushie, although it is just the same baby Mothman swaddled up from the backpack,
Yeah,
basically.
that's the backpack one, right?
But we finally get a Mothman plushie. We got a cool Mothman lamp. We got a, what else? I think it's a Grafton monster plushie. I don't think it's that cute, but someone might like. And there's a Flatwoods monster plushie too, which looks awesome.
We need outfits for ourselves, like we're dressing up like all the cryptids for Halloween or whatever. Like, we've already got the one Grafton monster mask I know that doesn't actually look anything like the Grafton monster because, first and foremost, it has a goddamn head, which, that's so weird. But I'd like to dress up like the Flatwoods monster, have like a little fishbowl on my head and like a little like purple glowing outfit or something. That'd be fun.
That would be.
I mean, the Grafton monster mask should make your head disappear.
It should just raise your shoulder level up to the same line that the top of your head would be at. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's baffling.
like a Frankenstein kind of costume where you're wearing your shoulders on your shoulders. That would totally work.
Yeah, totally.
There is an ally on this one. So we're only getting one ally this scoreboard, which is good because we got too many now. And it's hard to choose. The ally this time, this is kind of cool. The ally's name is Stephen Scarberry. And he's got a little bit of a creepy vibe. He's kind of a cultist, Blessings of Mothman. He's a friendly cultist. But yeah, but he's creepy. He talks about things watching you and stuff like that.
It's
I do
not
like
the
him.
psycho nurse.
No, not the psycho nurse from the storyline. We get Stephen as the ally. But what's interesting is his name, Stephen Scarberry. It's actually kind of a put together from the original Mothman legend, right? Because wasn't it, I'm looking up now, wasn't it Anna Scarberry who was one of the first people to see the Mothman?
Oh, good Lord. Who knows that?
I think I do.
Internet does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Linda Scarberry. not Anna,
Wow,
was
good poll.
police reports of their Mothman encounter in 1966 and interviewed by police. They were one of the first, and I think one of the guys with her was named Steve. Yeah, Steve Mallet. So Steve Mallet and Linda Scarberry, they put their names together for this, which I thought was really kind of funky.
Nice. Hey, I have a musical question for you guys.
Hmm.
Are you going to Scarberry Fair? Let's not go there.
Yeah, immediately put the kibosh on that. But so that's kind of it for the seasons. There's great fireplaces. Like there really are some good camp items. I will not deny it for a second. And as you get
Cool.
towards the end, the cool things like the fiddle chair and the one more time emote, you're sticking up your finger like just 1 second or let's go again, like that kind of thing. There's some good emotes there. But as always, they are in the back half
Okay.
of the board.
As they happen to be. Right. So the other big complaint I had this week was my remote access to gaming during my lunch break, so I don't have to stay up late at night. I can get to bed early. My remote gaming for the Xbox just totally stopped working, and I can't get it to go. And I was troubleshooting it for days and days, and I'm now like in contact with Xbox support and all that, and I can tell with each time I ask, so guys, any more headway made on this issue? Each time they say, no, and your patience is greatly appreciated. I can tell each time I'm saying they're like, your patient, they're getting more and more frustrated with me asking about it. So I've just stopped asking now. I'm like, my remote play is just dead now, I guess, because they can't figure it out. I've been asking for 5-6 days in a row. They can't make it work. And they have no idea what's going on. I keep asking the support people, and they keep giving me more and more. It used to be passive aggressive, and now it's just getting aggressive, like, no, wait, type answers from them, you know? I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I'll just stop asking about. And I guess we don't pay for the Xbox service to do that, but I feel like through Fallout First and stuff, but there's those two totally different systems, but I still feel like I'm getting fucking ripped off because I don't have access to it, even though I'm not actually paying for that. Like, I'm at least paying it in the fact that that I'm giving up sleep. I'm going to bed an hour later every night now because I have to stay up to do it. You know what I mean?
Sorry. I know what you mean. And you've gotten used to checking in like on lunch breaks and stuff too, if you want to.
Yeah, just that was my thing. I was like, oh, let's get the challenges done early and go home and go to bed. So that was my thing. I'm up at like 5 a.m. so I don't like staying up till like midnight to finish my goddamn challenges, you know. But I've had to start doing that at night again. I'm not excited about that. But what is more worrisome is that they have zero clue. Like I'm giving them the error codes, and they should be able to punch the codes in and be like, oh, well, this is the cause of that. But they have zero clue.
We went through all the things. It's not the ISP. I mean, everything else is connecting fine. You can play the game fine, but you tried multiple devices and none of them connect to the Xbox. Like you can even see your Xbox in the app. You connect and it won't connect. So any headway there? Like, have you heard anything from Microsoft about that?
No, just basically they're coming back at me with stop asking. We'll let you know at this
Oh boy.
point, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and wrap up with my gameplay then. So I have been doing lots of Vault 88. I finally got down to the Vault 88, and I think I mentioned starting that last week. But the fun stuff that's been going down is I got all of Clem's stuff going, where you get all the buffs from the Photoraptor and the bike and the soda machine and all that stuff. So that's been great to have that stuff going, because then you get all your little extra buffs. You ride the bike for a little bit, get a little more endurance or agility. I forget which is which, but I think that's great because in 76, I love the punching bag and the weight bench and all that stuff. So I like opening that up in the Vault in 70 and then Fallout 4. But the other big fun thing was opening up all of Vault 88. If you go, I don't remember the direction. I think it's south. There's tunnels that sort of go down, but they're railway tunnels. And at the end, there's a giant body of water with this huge water purifier, but a Mirelurk Queen pops up. And I just played that over and over and just got slaughtered, and I wasn't getting anywhere close to doing any damage to this thing.
Oh, I can imagine.
What was really fun, and I mentioned this to Ray and Jess in the chat. I was like, hey, I just opened up Vault 88. Doc Weather showed up. It was awesome. But you know what? Fucking Lucas Miller showed up at the same time. I had 2 caravans. And then I loaded it again. I was like, oh my God, guys, cricket's here too. Got 3 caravans. And then I loaded it up one more time. All 4 fucking caravans were underneath that tent. Like, so not only the merchant, but like their guards and everything were there too, and their fucking Brahmin. And everyone is there in that little tiny tent. There's like 16 people packed underneath that little tent. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I had the wise idea. Hey, I now have build access to this whole shebang. So I'm going to drag that fucking tent all the way down the railway hallway to the Mirelurk Queen's little area. And I dragged it down there, and then all of a sudden, all 16 of those people like popped out there. They don't have good weapons. They don't have like little pipe pistols and stuff. But at least it made the queen pay attention to someone other than me, so that they're taking little pot shots and stuff. And I set up a couple turrets around the edge. And so the queen just wasn't even looking at me. And they let me build some extra defenses while the other guys were all firing. And it was awesome to have a little army of caravanners down there that just sort of helping me out. And like, I was literally in bed, sort of like falling off to sleep, when that idea popped into my head. And I was like, oh my God.
I have to try this.
Drag that tent down there, and they're going to fuck up this Mirelurk Queen. So I hopped up out of bed and ran and did that real quick, and it worked like a fucking charm. It was awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, it was really great. But that's kind of where I am in Vault 88.
So were cricket guards naked?
Well, the weird thing, no, not naked. Are they usually naked?
In my game, they're almost always running around in their underwear. They still have their armor on, but they don't have anything else. And it's only cricket.
Only cricket, huh? Well, the funny thing now is, though, I pulled the tent off and pulled it back up to where it was, sort of in that main lobby. And the damage that the Mirelurk Queen was doing somehow carried on to back up to that main room. It's really weird, because I'll just be Clem's like pedaling on the bike, and I'm like over on the soda machine and everything. And then all of a sudden you look over, and they're like, 2 of the guards all of a sudden just fall like they just got shot. And then they pop right back up. And then 2 others will fall like they just got shot, and they'll pop right back up. But it's like they're in battle, like they're still fighting the queen and taking the poison damage and stuff and falling down. But there's nothing around them to do. Like the Brahmin are even falling over and standing back up and stuff. Like, what is going on, you guys? Like this is long-term poison damage from the Mirelurk Queen or something. But I couldn't really tell what's going on, but something weird is going on with their scripting. And also, they, like I mentioned in previous shows, where I'm popping up in my separate settlements, and Lucas Miller will be there. You're like, oh, hey, that's awesome. And then you run to the next settlement over, and somehow he has beat you from settlement A to settlement B. Like, he's already there. I'm like, how are you omnipresent, dude? You're amazing. Now that all 4 of them have showed up down in Vault 88, I went up to Jamaica Plain and just waited, and they never showed up.
They're stuck there.
They never showed up. I went to a different settlement. They never showed up. They're stuck in 88. All 4 caravans are now stuck in Vault 88, so they won't
They're
leave.
waiting for you to open the vault door.
It's like I told you. They're treating it like Hotel California. They're never going to leave.
They never will.
If you unlock the Vault 88 settlement, that they will then leave. But no, because you already have at this point, right?
It opened up, man.
It's opened up now.
I don't know. I really don't know what the trick is. I do have a turret at the end of the hallway right as you enter the vault, but I don't know why that would prevent.
It shouldn't prevent them when you're away. Yeah. And what if you delete the tent where they're all hanging out?
What if I scrap the tent? Ooh, there you go. I need to scrap that tent there, because I can always rebuild it easily. I'm going to scrap the tent and see if they just disappear or if they walk away, or what's going to happen with that. That's a good idea. That's how I'll test that.
They're into free lodging. That's what it is. You have to say no more. See what happens.
Yeah. Gee whiz. So I actually have the phone plugged in now. So unless you heard a giant audio difference in the last minute or two, I think we can carry on.
We can tell you're on speaker, but that's fine. You sound good.
Okay. And the last thing I kind of wanted to mention with my gameplay was the overseer, what's her name, Barstow, sent me to Hallucinogen to get some, I don't know, one of the photoropters, something. I don't even remember what item it was for. But I needed to go to Hallucinogen to pick up a piece of something, some poison. I don't even know what it was. But I needed to bring it back so they could build something. But I went to Hallucinogen and I walked in, and like Ray mentioned earlier, oh, they're going to tuck anything that you want. They're going to tuck it into some trunk at the very end of whatever dungeon you go to. So I went into Hallucinogen, and I know I just like looked down that little hallway, like, oh, great, it's just right here, right near the front door. But then I realized, oh, fuck, I haven't been in Hallucinogen in a very long time. It's that super annoying thing where they put the quest marker right beside the front door, but it's like just slightly underneath you. And the way you get to it is go wrap your ass up, down the stairs, up the ramp, around the thing, through the testing thing, up to the observation deck, then all the way. It's like they're literally fucking toying with you by showing you, oh no, it's just right here, but you have to go through the whole fucking place, up and around and backwards, and oh, that's just so crazy. That like I was so excited that I was just, oh, this will be a snap. I'll just grab that and go. 3 hours later, it's like, God damn this place. It's so super.
In No Man's Sky, we have a train manipulator, and we can just blast a hole in the ground and drop right into wherever we need to be.
You can see through the walls, Ray. I should literally be able to just kick that wall to get through it.
Yeah.
Tempered glass.
And then your tree thing made me sort of think, Ray, and you play Fallout 4 way more frequently than I do. Do you have all these, like, when I walked into Hallucinogen, I was like, I have a vague recollection of this place, you know? But are you like, okay, now I need to go in here, go left, go up, go down the ramp, take right, two rights, and then a left, and then you're up and down, and then blah, blah, blah. Do you have these places so down pat that you don't even have to think about the map anymore?
Not every place. Like Hallucinogen, I've only gone in there a few times through all my different characters. So I know the basic layout of it, but someplace like Green Tech, where you're going to kill the Courser, that one I can almost do blindfolded. So, yeah, it just depends on the place.
Yeah, I get that. Just been a Corvega. I know everyone's waiting anxiously for. I hate Corvega so much. My Corvega report.
You get sent to Corvega from 10 Pines to deal with the raiders. They're the ones who send you normally.
Good old 10 Pines. I think they sent me to Dunwich. Is that possible? Or is it a county crossing, maybe?
Yeah, it could have been when you were in the area. They said, we're having trouble with raiders at this location. That's definitely possible.
Yeah, I think it was that conversation, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of all I had for my show notes about what I want to... Oh, the drugged water from Hallucinogen. I keep saying hallucinogen. Hallucinogen? Is that anything? I kept picking it up, and I was like, can I boil this?
No, but there is a quest that you need it for.
Oh, there is. So hang on to one or two of them.
But I don't remember what it is. Yeah, hang on to one. And I think it might have been in Far Harbor.
Oh, boy. I haven't even pretended to go to Far Harbor or Nuka World.
And there's other places that you can get those canisters.
And I also thought it was fun that all the gunners in there attacked each other instead of you. I didn't really have to fight anyone in there.
Except as long as you hold back. If you charge into a room, they'll attack you. But if you just hang back, they'll take each other out.
Yeah. My sneak is super high. So I'm just open a door, watch the guys fight. You know, one kills the other, and then the winner has like a sliver of his own health left, and then just bloop, take him out really quickly. Oh, and I just upgraded to the second level of Blitz, so I'm like attacking people from a quarter mile down the road now. It's fucking awesome. And then I've been playing so much Fallout 4 recently. I went into 76 yesterday, and I'm like, all right, I'm sneaking. See that guy down the hall. I'm gonna get you. Oh no, I'm not. Fuck. Where's my? God damn it. I missed Blitz so much in 76. It has really spoiled me in Fallout 4 about how awesome that perk is.
And the thing to always remember is once you get the second rank of Blitz, the further away you are, the higher the damage increase you get.
No way. Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So if you go just right to the edge of where you finally get the 95%, you get maximum damage against the opponent.
You're going to make me start just like deploying VATS and then backing up a little bit. I'm just going to start backing away until it says 0 and then scoot up another step and then attack. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Idea. That's hilarious. Yeah. So I'm in the mid 30s now, level wise. So I'm about to get the second rank of Rooted too, and Blitz. And I don't know if I should keep pumping points into Ninja because, as you pointed out last time, it's melee only, not unarmed weapons, which I think is total bullshit. But you still get the benefits of sneak attacks, but it doesn't give unarmed those same benefits as it does for melee weapons.
Yeah, you get the general increase, the same one that you get from weapons, ballistic weapons. But yeah, melee is where it really kicks it into high gear.
I think that's basically all of my gameplay. Jess, what did you get into this week?
I got a decent amount of 76 in this week. Not a lot of other games. I think I might have mentioned there was a couch contest I was going to build something for. So it's funny. I went into a custom world to work on building my couch. Basically, it's the Sofa King contest, and a couch has to be able to fit within one foundation, but something original. I got in there and I started building, and I got really carried away. So I was trying to make a 2-person organ. It turned into a 4-person organ, and then instead of taking one foundation, it basically became almost a castle. Like I ended up erecting an entire castle wall around this organ. But that was a lot of fun. That was one night. So then I decided, okay, let's go space age. I built a cyber couch, which came out pretty well. Lots of blue lights and stuff like that. So that was one night. I was up really late working on it. So I took some pictures, but for the challenge, you need to have 2 people sitting on it. So the next day I got in, and that was Tuesday when the season changed. And I wanted to get started on the challenges. So I was going to message somebody to see if they could join me and we get some photos and stuff like that. But you were having the Xbox connection trouble. That's the night it started, was on Tuesday. So I was talking to you and then just got playing on the scoreboard and grinding events and stuff like that. Saw all the new stuff, the new mutated challenges. We haven't really talked about that yet, the mutation evasion. So far, they've actually been kind of fun. Like, I was worried they were going to be annoying, like the way daily ops can be, where you show up and you're like, God, I don't want to deal with this. But so far, every event I've been to with mutation invasion, top of the hours when those happen, have been great. Like I've done at the Palace of the Winding Path, the guided meditation. And I did that with cloaked ghouls. So you've got all these charged feral ghouls, but you can't even see them. Just, rippling stuff. And then suddenly your speakers are being busted and there's like 20 shadows on top of it. It was rough. But luckily, there were a good 10 people there, so it wasn't impossible. It actually made it fun. I almost feel like public events having more people on average, as long as you do, they're not going to be quite as bad as daily ops, where you've got a maximum of 4 people.
True.
Now, the one I did was explosive super mutants for the eviction notice. And that was actually difficult because you know how eviction notice, you're kind of always on the edge of your health anyway, because there's a lot of mutants. You got the rads coming in from another side. And now you hit the mutants and they explode. But luckily, when I do eviction notice, I usually just hang right near the generator the rad scrubber, so I can repair it. And all you got to do is get a hit on them. You get some XP. So I've got a super mutant Gauss shotgun. And I'll get just little hits on their health, and then someone else takes care of them, and I still get some XP. So it's worth it to be right there on the rad scrubber, just in case. Because if I'm going to do that event, I don't want to fail.
Yeah. Are all mutations from daily ops now available to be used at the events at the top of the hour?
I'm not sure if there are any that they limited. There's a new one called Reflective, which is really rough if you're bloodied, especially if you're melee bloodied and they're doing damage and it's reflecting some of it back at you. It can be bad.
I saw a video clip of somebody with the auto axe that hit the ghoul and they just went flying.
Yeah, so that'll take care of yourself. They changed a couple of things too for this too. So like volatile, that'll destroy objects nearby more. Freezing touch will last longer, which is kind of a pain. I don't like that, but it won't stack anymore. So even though when you get hit with a freezing touch enemy, it'll still slow you down, it won't stack. So if you get hit by 3 or 4 enemies and they swarm you, you're not going to be like molasses. So that's a little better. But yeah, overall, I actually like them in public events. Now, if people don't keep showing up, they may not be as good. Like when you try to do a top of the hour event and they've got a rough mutation and there's only 3 people there. Okay, that may not be great, but it's up to you whether or not you join in. And they're doing it for 3 weeks straight. And then it's going to be, I believe, every other week, but they're still working it out. So maybe every couple weeks, maybe every other week, they're going to do this. So it won't be a constant thing. And the item you get from it.
So on Double Mutations weekend, is that also going to pull out into those events and not just daily ops anymore?
I have not seen anywhere that will affect the mutated event, so I'm guessing no.
Okay. All right. I haven't seen the armor piercing one or whatever that they can one-shot you, basically. That's the one I hate trying to do by myself.
The piercing gaze, I don't think that'll be there because that's only in one of the 2 daily ops usually, so I don't think it'll be in. I haven't seen it yet myself.
Or, yeah, actually the other one that I hate doing alone is the one where they heal when they're around each other. Because that one's really fucking hard to do alone.
Okay, I got the list now. So I can get Volatile, Camouflage, so the cloaking one, Resilient, which is melee only, Freezing Touch, which will slow you down, Toxic Blood, where they leave the gas cloud, Group Regeneration, where they can actually heal each other, Swift-Footed, where they have increased movement and attack speed. So those are the ones that they will have. So that makes it a little bit better. Then the reward you can get, if there's at least 3 Fallout First people present, which, once again, pushing Fallout First, at least 3 Fallout First people present at the event, you get a mutated party pack. So you get a regular or the fancy mutated party pack. And I gotta tell you, there's some cool stuff in there. So it feels like a mole miner pail or a gift in a lot of ways. Whatever weapon you have equipped, you're gonna get some ammo for it. You're gonna get a consumable, you're gonna get a couple little things, some scrap. But you can get rare plans from the mutated ones. I've actually gotten 3 plans I didn't know. Some people are finding they're getting all kinds of things that they were waiting, like cutting fluid. People who hadn't ever gotten cutting fluid, they got that. It's not coming to mind what I got, but they were all ones I didn't have. So I was happy about that for sure.
What's the big deal with cutting fluid? What is it used for? When you make cutting fluid, what recipe would that go into making?
It's used for modifying certain weapons. I'm not sure which ones, though. I think they're melee weapons that I don't do as much, but it is basically an item you used for weapon mods.
Interesting. Oh, I did get a Flatwoods monster tube. You know, those tubes that have all the bad guys in it. I was like, I've never seen that. So I guess that was a new one, too, because I asked you guys, has this been in the game? And I think you confirmed that, oh, no, that's a new one, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Must have been a new event. I thought it was an expedition reward, but I could be wrong about that. It could have been daily ops or something crazy. Do they have a Grafton monster one, or is that tube just too big?
I think that would be too large.
They have to get the extra large tube, or he just crammed in there. It's just like an arm.
It's like an entire FEV green goo tank with a Flatwoods monster in it.
The whole tank, yeah. That'd be hilarious.
But yeah, so
what else are you getting into?
I did get a number of Foshnocks in over the weekend. Just got my runs. Still no rare masks, but some friends got rare masks. It was great to see people. I did a couple with Cherry. I did a couple with other friends. There was one night I showed up with our friend Mal and got to run with him. I had a completely AFK Foshnock too over the weekend. I think it was probably Saturday, where there were 6 people AFK and little old me. But I managed it, but it was on the edge. It was on the edge. I have never been at one where the sloth actually made it to the robots to start attacking them, but the sloth did. And I'm like, oh no, my robots. But yeah, we pulled that out. Still,
no, you need to let them kill 1 or 2 robots so you actually get the rare masks.
You mean the common masks, the rare ones?
The common ones, which are the rare ones.
I mean, they're not as rare as the rares, but they're more common than the uncommon. It's a puzzle. Nobody knows.
Yeah. I did a number of Foshnocks too.
Are we doing a goddamn Abbott and Costello sketch here? What the hell is happening?
It really is.
Yeah, it just happened to be the loneliest number.
Beyond that, we got you into play just for fun too. Like after the show last week, convinced you to join me in Marigolds for a little bit of play time too in 76. That was nice.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, I haven't done that on this character yet. I want to do it. Oh, Marigolds hasn't done it yet. Let's hop in and do it with her.
Yeah, we've been doing a story quest like every weekend. I talked about how we'd done a couple, either her or I, recently. And so we were going to do that last weekend, but ended up, even though you jumped in and we did that, we got tired. But it was still fun to play for a couple hours after the show. That was good. And finally, I was talking about pictures and couch contests and all that. Well, Lee actually on Wednesday night, because I didn't get anything done Tuesday, I was too busy doing scoreboard. On Wednesday, Lee was kind enough to jump in with me. And he got to be my player too for my photos. And he dressed up, looked pretty for me, sat on the couch where I told him to, did some posing. It was great. So we got our photos for the contest. And another friend popped into the private. So then we went and we just ended up playing for 2-3 hours again for challenges. It's funny that the game still has its hooks in me like that, but new scoreboard, you see friends on, you jump in for 20 minutes, you end up playing for 3 hours. It still does that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm about level 10 or 11. I definitely got my first batch of Adam, so I think I'm 11 on the scoreboard. I know Ray is level 1, right?
Do you start at 0 or 1?
I guess technically you start at 0.
Okay, good. I'm at 0 then.
Phew. Okay. And Andrew, you said you were up to all the way to 17?
Somewhere in that ballpark. I think I remember 16 and 17 hitting today when I was doing my dailies.
That's pretty far.
But I still feel ripped off from that first day not having the 10,000 because I seriously spun that thing like probably 4 or 5 times that first day, you know? So
yeah.
But they owe me about 50,000 XP.
Well, you got the XP, but if it's every 10,000, you get 100. So it's only like 500 score. It's not like a huge difference.
500 score. That's two fucking dailies, man. Or
when you put it that way. Well, now on the reroll, sometimes you can get an epic daily. Have either of you had epic dailies yet? So epic dailies.
I was so scared of using the rerolls that I only had 2 for the whole season that I haven't touched them yet. So no, I haven't had. What was the epic?
They can happen naturally anyway, I think, but they definitely can happen when you do a reroll. So when I rerolled one of mine, I got an epic, and what that was kill, I think 25. It was either 20 or 25 super mutants with a shotgun. Which that's a lot for a daily. But it was basically a specific weapon.
Way too many.
It's a specific weapon and a specific number, and it gives you more score. So I got like 400 some score for it instead of just 250. So
I guess that works.
Yeah, and Andrew, you'd clear that like 10 times going through West Tech grinding.
Oh yeah, just West Tech over and over. Right.
Yeah.
I actually haven't done that once yet this season. Now, granted, the season is only
3 days.
4 days in now or whatever. But like I haven't touched West Tech once. And I looked at the challenges today, and kill 3 legendary enemies was on there. So I was like, fuck, I'm going to have to go to West Tech and run through there and find some legendary. But one of the other dailies was an event in the Cranberry Bog. So I went down there and claimed the workbench because they were claiming a workbench was one, and do an event in the Cranberry Bog was another, and kill 3 legendary enemies was a third one. And I happened to show up down there, and as I was clearing the enemies to get the workbench, 3 legendary enemies happened to just show up there. I was like, oh, sweet. So I got the event, the workshop, and the kill 3 legendaries all in like 4 minutes or something like that. It was great that everything happened all at once down there.
It's beautiful when you can stack them. Another funny thing about this new system is that we all start with the same challenges. And that's kind of thing. We always all have the same challenges. So you know what I'm doing, I know what you're doing. And they still start out that way. Like, for instance, there was craft a Mylar queen steak, and you crafted 2, so you dropped 1 for me, and you had to get a Mylar queen steak and sell it to a vendor. So I sold it to a vendor and got my score. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. But
absolutely,
now they're not all the same, because when you reroll, you're going to get different things than other people.
That's just that they start the same every day, though, right? Yep. It's only when you re-roll that it changes. Okay.
Yep, they're starting the same, but it just means that there's a little bit more overlap. And if you're doing stuff with friends, you might have a little more variety. Lee is already rank 6 on Xbox on the scoreboard from hanging with me that night. So good job, Lee. I told him he was going to be 3 times you, Ray, but he's 6 times your rank.
Yeah. Well, 6 times 0 is still 0.
Oh, good point. Infinitely higher than you. Just how you like it. Yeah, a whole lot of 76 this week, and mostly with friends. New scoreboard. That'll do that. It brings people out of the woodwork. People want to try the new stuff. Yes. They want to do this and that. So that was good. I didn't stream this week, but even so, I still played. And speaking of high, I played a new game called Hi-Fi Rush. This is a game by Tango Software. They're another Bethesda studio, and you guys might have heard about this coming out about a month ago.
One that insta-dropped on the event.
Yeah, it's shadow dropped. So it's a fun rhythm game. It's a fighty game. And I got probably 3 hours into it. I like it. I don't know. I think it's going to be my side game when Microsoft says, get 3 achievements for your reward points this week. I'm just going to play that and get a few achievements. Although some of them look kind of tough. I bet it's probably no more than 10 hours. So I'm probably at least a quarter of the way through.
It took me an embarrassing long time before I realized what the term platform game meant. What does rhythm game mean?
So there are a couple types of rhythm games. It generally means doing something in the game on the beat. So a lot of them, like technically DDR is a dance game, but it's also a rhythm game with the pad. But Guitar Hero is definitely a rhythm game. Anything where you're pressing specific buttons to the beat is a rhythm game. And so this one's actually fighty. You're dodging and diving using weapons, but you get extra points and combos when you hit on the beat. So
It's like that scene in Shaun of the Dead where they're fucking killing zombies in the beat to the Queen song or whatever they're doing. It's
Exactly.
hilarious.
You got to get a good ballet of death going on.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, the game has a good vibe because of that. It was really fun. But that is all my
awesome.
gameplay this week. And
Oh, sweet. So let's see what else we got on the list tonight. We got a little bit of iguana bits to get into, and just a few shouts on the way out the door. What do we have in the way of iguana bits tonight?
so we talked through some of it already. Let's pull up the calendar. There are a couple things going on. So there's nothing specifically for this weekend on the calendar, the weekend of March 3rd, but of course they have actually given us stuff. So because of all the issues, etc., we are getting double score this weekend. Double score is going to start Saturday at noon. So it's not the usual Thursday to Monday, but it's going to be Saturday, Sunday, I guess just the two. So yeah, don't neglect your score this weekend.
This weekend. Okay. Right on.
And we also have double script this weekend as well to go with. So yeah, a little something, nothing too fancy, nothing big on the calendar for a while.
Crud, I should have saved my legendaries.
We'll have
Actually,
double
it doesn't
score
matter.
again in the middle of March. So it'll be 2 weeks and we'll double score again. So they're really trying to help us knock it out early, which is good. I appreciate that. And
Yeah.
then Spooky Scorched for April 1st. And that's about it. So we talked about some of the patch highlights already, but let's go in and quickly discuss what they added with this. So they did the mutation evasion, and we already talked about that. Top of the hour, there are new locations of daily ops, new enemies, and a new mutation. So we didn't talk about that yet. The new locations are Charleston Capitol Building, Garahan Mining Headquarters, and good old Morgantown High School for all that plastic and such in your daily op.
Wait, I missed that first part. What are these locations for? New locations for?
New
For
daily op
ops?
locations. Yep.
Daily ops, okay.
Yeah, it's
And
kind
you
of funny
said new
because
baddies too, huh?
yeah, people don't
Sorry, go-
do daily ops as much, but they make them more and more diverse. At this point, I don't know how large the pool is, but I feel like there's at least 15 places you can get daily ops. It's got to be close to that, right?
15? Really? I still feel like I go to the same 3 places over and over.
See, initially it launched with only the 4 or 5, but at this point they've added 3 and 3. I feel like it's got to be more than 10. I'll have to find a list at some point, because what do we got? We got West Tech, we got the Burrows, we got Uncanny Caverns, we got Vault
Yeah.
96, and those
Is
are all
Vault
added.
96 the ice vault?
Yeah, that's the ice one.
Okay.
So many. So we've got all that stuff. And there's new rewards too. The floater tubes. So you get floaters in your tubes at this point. The hot rod handmade skin, the Flatwoods monster tube we were talking about. So that was brand new. I knew it was within the last month or two, but yeah, that's with this update.
Nice.
And deep space alien power armor skin and jetpack. So it's another alien power armor and jetpack. And the new enemy is aliens. You can fight Zaytans in daily ops.
No, fun.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be
So
cool.
the actual season
Yeah.
theme we talked about already, that's Rip Daring. And not much more to say there. Looking at the design changes, here's a great quality of life thing. So if you're someone who, well, there's 2 reasons for this. So first of all, if you just got a little bit sick or you got a little bit dizzy when the screen shook too much at events like load bearing, or if you're at a battle and there's too much going on the screen, you know how the whole screen will shake with certain enemies and stuff, you can turn that off now. So that's great. But additionally, with the people who launch too many fat mans and grenades and causing that kind of trouble, even though it's slowed down again, at least for me, the last month, finally, when they do that, it can cause the screen to shake and you can have that turned off so it won't affect you as much.
That's good.
When you're revived, if you're revived by Mysterious Savior or the Lifesaver, you're going to be healed. So you're going to be healed more than you were and not run to the edge of death. What else? Oh, they had to turn One Violent Night off, you guys.
Oh no.
So One Violent Night was the one that you do at the lodge where you play the instruments and the ghouls come and then the Wendigo. And that had been working well, but with the new public events, the invasion, it's been having troubles with the mutations. So they've got it turned off for now on that.
That's too
Yep.
bad. That was one of the ones that I almost always showed up to. Whenever I saw that event, I was like, popping
Yeah,
over.
people like it. And I'm sure it's just for this first 3 weeks, probably. They might even fix it sooner. Heart of the Swamp, they're making it a little bit harder. Line in the Sand, they're making the alarm a little bit less annoying, they said. Technically, they're removing some of the high frequency range in the alarm, but yeah, less annoying. From suitors, there's more waves, and they actually gave some of the mini bosses names. So like when the Mirelurk, the Razor Claws come in, they're going to have names and stuff now. That's kind of funky. And beyond that,
Like Larry the Mirelurk, Chad
Oh my
the
gosh.
Mirelurk,
like it.
good old
Yes, like in
Steve-O
Tragic
the
Paradise.
Mirelurk.
No, not Steve-O. That would, no. That guy is reckless. yeah. Beyond that, it's just the quality of life stuff. So nothing too fancy to get into. Behemoth should be tougher. That's one I should mention. So if you've been out there with a build that's two-shotting a behemoth, it should take longer now, but we'll see.
People are two-shotting behemoths? Good lord.
Yeah, there are definitely some people who could. I do want to mention one of the other new random encounters. Like, there are always a lot of little things added with these updates. Sometimes people discover later, like a little location added, a new possible random encounter. Well, this time, they did the foreshadowing thing. They have added a new character that people are calling the Smiling Man. Okay, you run into this character, the Smiling Man, and he's just there in a suit, looking very creepy, and smiling at you. And if you engage with him in conversation, you can talk. And he has a very unusual conversation. He asks you, "Oh, I've been gone for a long time. Oh, this place has changed. Anything I should check out? Anything peculiar?" And there's a whole lot of dialogue. And maybe I'll put in a soundbite for everybody to listen in the actual recorded podcast. Well, this is a reference to the cryptid legend Injured Cold, which we've talked about before, Dark Forces guy in West Virginia, Appalachia area. And people are thinking that he may actually be indicative of the Once in a Blue Moon update because of some of his dialogue. So the June update is labeled Once in a Blue Moon, and people don't know, like, if there's any story content coming. They look at the community calendar, and it doesn't specifically say, "Oh, this is coming to the game." But Once in a Blue Moon may refer to a new event or something happening in Appalachia. So I don't know. There could be a new cryptid or Injured Cold related event coming up in June. So just look out for that guy, okay? I think he can show up at places where pipe can happen and some of the other random encounters.
He himself is a random encounter. Okay.
Yes, kind of like the emissary during the aliens. The last thing I put on Iguana Bits. So I wrote out the notes on Tuesday or Wednesday. And in all caps, I wrote Starfield conference announcement with an arrow saying, "I am willing this into reality." Well,
all of a sudden,
I regret to inform you, my will was not strong enough. It has not been willed into reality. We did not get a Starfield conference announcement this week. And I want to apologize to everybody last week, last Friday, Saturday, when I said, people are saying it's imminent. People are saying there's a lot of buzz. We're hearing from a lot of people. Andy at Platonic was the first to talk about it. Then Jez Corden and Rand at Windows Central, Jez Corden. A number of other people were saying it's imminent. Our sources are saying we're hearing it.
Yeah.
Well,
and you weren't wrong about that. That's what they were saying.
They were.
They were wrong, not you.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I was excited because the news had just broken that day. And I'm like, yeah, this feels good. This feels good. Because a month ago, I said, okay, you know what? Nobody knows. We're going to stop worrying about it for a little bit. Well, I made it a month before got sucked into the hype again. But it doesn't mean they were wrong about it being imminent. But it definitely wasn't last week. So fingers crossed. I'll put it on the notes for next week, too. And maybe my will be stronger.
Q1 2024.
So your phone still has battery power, or is it just sput out?
Well, I plugged it in for a little while and it charged a little bit, and then I plugged the headset back in. So we'll see how long this lasts on this. And it's at 50%. Oh, now it's 30. Oh, now it's 14. Now it's 7. Now it's done.
I was just looking for an excuse to disconnect you, saying things like that. Q1 2024.
Hey,
that's where I figured you were going with that.
Well, we'll push it to Q2. We're not scared to push a Bethesda game, as you well know.
You're pushing something. You're pushing it.
Controversy.
But yeah, that's all I have for Iguana Bits. Even though I was down on the mutation invasion, could be fun.
Awesome. Well, I need to obviously pull open the scoreboard and actually take a look at some of these things and explore a little bit more. So let's do a couple of shouts on our way out the door. Jess, I see you have, and I saw a map pop up on Twitter the other day. Don't forget St. Biv's Day, everyone. So it's like, God, I'd forgotten about this. This was a tie-in to St. Patrick's Day, right? With all the drinking and sort of like a pub crawl type thing, right?
Just a fun little event we made up. So I don't shout out every Gato event these days because there's at least 1 or 2 a month and other stuff happening. But we are going to do another parade. Always got to shout out our parades because they're a great time. March 12th at 2 p.m. Eastern. March 12th, 2 p.m. Eastern at El Gato Pub Twitch channel. We're doing another parade. And this is the 2nd annual St. Biv's Day. And it's that holiday we made up when Biv trying to chase the snakes out of Appalachia, but he's slower at it. So it took him longer than St. Patrick. But this year is actually, we're doing it 2 days before St. Patrick's Day because Biv has no clue what day it is, Andrew. He doesn't know.
And to be fair, he's very, very drunk.
He is very drunk. So he may not even, I mean, we got a parade route, but we're going to wander wherever. You know what I mean? If you're interested in joining and building a float along the parade route, Xbox, PlayStation, or PC, let me know. DM me, message me, say, hey, I want to be part of the parade. I want to drop in with a float. Let me know and I'll add you.
Sounds
And
fun.
just have to be there on the day of. But otherwise, just log in and watch, and there'll be prizes, and it's a really fun time. So yeah, I wanted to shout out that.
Awesome. Sounds good. Everyone, check in on St. Biv's Day. It'll be great. March 12th. All right. I did have one shout that I'd like to send out to a longtime listener, Angel. She just surpassed the level 500 on Fallout 76. So congratulations on the 5-time century mark of level 500, Angel. That's quite an accomplishment. That's really awesome. Congratulations. That's my big shout out for this week. So Ray, Jess, do you guys have anything else you'd like to get into this week?
That is all for me.
Yep, good to go.
Well, then, on that note, you can find him over there at RayLB, or for all of your No Man's Sky needs, at BBCISSS on the Twitter. Ray, thanks so much for hopping on.
Good times.
Jess can be found at Dames Who Game. Oh, new episode Dames Who Game, everybody. Go check it out.
We did. We dropped an episode. My goodness, we're not dead.
It's been almost a year, but hey, we're still alive.
8 months.
And also at You Wastelanders, and also at Sleep is for Tea. Jess, thanks so much for running stuff tonight. Much appreciated. I am at Indie Android, and the show can be found at the Fallout Feed. I'd like to thank everyone for downloading this edition of the Fallout Feed, and we will see you in the Wasteland.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the Roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, a Skyrimatic podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the Wasteland.
We're out.
Awesome to the possum.
It's about hour 45, it looks like.
Yeah, maybe even less.
Good deal.
Nice and short for us. And I will get it edited and probably post it.
No way. You don't have to do all that if you don't want to.
Well, we'll see how I feel. I'll get started at least. I know I like to edit a little bit more, but I'll get it done.
When changing stuff up, it's hard to stay in your normal groove. You got more responsibilities with the making sure the recording stuff's going. And
Oh my gosh, at the beginning, I've never done that. I've never done that. Can we do the 404 not found for the cover? Andrew, are you cool with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Do that.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Do you like feed not found instead of file not found or something?
Yeah, feed not found. Perfect. And you should seriously just post 2 hours of blank silence as the sound file too, and then replace it or something. That'd be too late.
Not everybody's podcatchers will refresh an updated feed.
No, they won't.
Yep.
Trolling our listeners again.
We hate our listeners.
I only had like quarter cup of soda, so my throat's like super dry.
Go satiate your thirst.
Yes, well, I'm all out of soda, so I'm gonna have to have water.
Oh, gross. Ew. How do you drink that shit?
I don't know.
Do I need to arrange for an airdrop?
Airdrop some Vim.
Oh, yes, please. It's all good. I have coffee. I should have made coffee tonight.
Yeah, that shit's headed your way, probably.
Our friend Casey he was in an event that a friend was running tonight, so I was over there with him a little bit before the show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Casey can sing. He can actually sing pretty well.
That's awesome. That's very cool.
Yeah. Oh, and I didn't mention that nice post from Gary Sullivan. That was nice for him to pop in and say he listened to the song. And it was cool.
Oh, yeah, on the Facebook, he mentioned that.
Yep, that's fun.
Stop recording.